The CEO of Sonos, Patrick Spence, who had been the fearless leader of the company for over a decade, resigned after setting the Guinness World Record for the most disastrous app launch of all time. During his reign, the company grew from almost nothing to a multi-billion-dollar manufacturer of wireless headphones and speakers. The hardware is so great that people are willing to shell out $500 just to listen to carbon-based lifeforms in its full sonic glory. Things were going great until a few months ago when all that brand goodwill was flushed down the toilet because they decided to completely rewrite their mobile app in Flutter and release it in a half-baked state, which ended up costing the company hundreds of millions of dollars and the CEO his job. On the first day on the job, the new CEO came in and immediately fired the chief product officer. That comes after rumors that Sonos executives had completely ignored warnings from software engineers, which almost never ends well. Sonos and Patrick Spence deserve a lot of credit for commoditizing the headphone and speaker market. But one problem with the business model is that once the market is saturated, it's hard to continuously extract money from customers. As a tech company, Sonos wanted to build a platform with software and apps that control everything that makes sound. A good idea in theory, but the execution was terrible. They pushed an app update a few months ago that was supposed to improve the user experience, but instead it rendered everybody's existing products useless and removed many of the basic features that people expected. For example, if you had multiple speakers connected together, you would have to adjust the volume for each one individually, instead of adjusting them all simultaneously. The internet started freaking out, and the app received a flood of bad reviews on the Apple stores. The reviews were so bad that it appears Apple had to step in and remove them. A few days later, the CEO had to do the walk of shame with a YouTube apology. We are fixing the app as fast as we can and we are making great progress. But that wasn't nearly enough. He made the smart move to keep comments turned off and he was right. The apology was not nearly enough. He lost his job and they're only giving him $1.8 million in severance, which is a sad amount for a CEO who built a billion-dollar company. But how did this happen from a technical perspective? Well, the haters are going to say it's Flutter's fault. They should have only used native code and never messed with any cross-platform garbage. But in reality, Sonos was an early adopter of Flutter back in 2020. And the app everybody loved was also written in Flutter. It appears the bigger problem is that the new app relied more on cloud services over the network as opposed to just connecting to the speaker. This might be required to build a truly smart speaker system, but when they released the new app, they failed to test and stabilize all its new features. This resulted in all kinds of connection issues for customers. Once again, this is not an issue of incompetent engineers, but more an issue of corporate executives trying to push out a product before it was ready. Here's what a Sonos engineer said in his own words. Luckily though, technical issues like this will be a thing of the past, because according to Mark Zuckerberg on his Joe Rogan interview, Meta expects to have AI-powered mid-level engineers by the end of 2025. That could be bad news for programmers, but Zuckerberg recently had an even worse news for his army of fact-checkers. Harry and Meghan are absolutely furious. Or maybe it's the fact that Trump once threatened to throw Zuckerberg in jail and now he's doing the best he can do to play the victim. What you may not realize is that JavaScript logo is owned by Oracle. Recently, the team behind Dino asked them to voluntarily withdraw their trademark so that it could be used freely by the community. Well, Oracle is like, nah, and now they are entering a legal battle where they'll start the discovery process to show how JavaScript is widely recognized and generic Trump that falls outside the scope of Oracle. But it might take years before they actually resolve this dispute. There's a lot going on in the world today for developers.